filter in this Holley fuel filter, high flow fuel filter that I have in my car. The reason why I'm doing that is because I replaced, or I had to retighten the fittings here because there was a small leak. And when I took one off, I could see inside, and there was what looked like a small little thread of metal inside, and was on the outlet side, meaning it wouldn't have gone through the filter and would have probably ended up in my fuel system. So I purchased a replaceable filter kit. I think I got this on Amazon, but 25 bucks. I think it's like 20 from Summit if you want to pay for shipping. Has the filter, O-rings that go on either end, and I'm not sure what the small O-ring for is. We'll find out in a second when I open it up. So to get this open, you need a pretty big wrench to get across this giant nut. I took a measurement, and it's about 35 millimeters. So you'll need a wrench that can do it. I just use an adjustable wrench. If you've got two of them, or if you've got a vise, I would probably put one end in the vise, a soft jaw vise if you have it, and then just put a wrench on the other end until you kind of break that seal. The O-ring is what keeps it sealed, not the threads like an NPT fitting. So it shouldn't take that much force, but I did need to give it some leverage. So now I've got this off. I'm just gonna have to loosen it. Once it's loose, it should thread right off. And if you're on this side, I guess where the fuel comes in, there's a spring here. I think it probably just keeps the filter in place from moving around. So just put that aside. There's one of the O-rings we're going to replace. And then if you look inside, there's the filter. So it should just come right out. There's the filter. It's, I think, like a metal screen, but it looks like it's going to match with the one I got. I have part numbers for that. I'll put in the description. It may depend on what fuel filter you have. This is the 162563. Takes a 40 micron. I think there's like a 100 micron and a 10 micron. Whatever reason, I went with the 40 at the time. So that's the old filter. I'll probably look at that a bit closer, but there's some dirt right there you can see. So I've had this in for maybe a year. It's an occasional car, less than 1,000 miles probably. And it was a brand new fuel system, AN lines, pump, fittings, and all kinds of stuff. So I think what they suggest is if you put this in as part of a new fuel system, change the filter pretty soon after to catch all the junk from your fresh install of your fuel system, because a lot of things will end up in the filter from putting things together that you want to get out and replace. So like I said, it looks like there's a little bit of one part of the filter's got quite a bit of junk in there. No big chunks, no metal. So what I saw here, you can see it right there. There's a little thread. Put this light on here. See that little thread of metal? Right about there. So that's really concerning, and you can see that's on the outlet side, which means fuel comes through, that piece of millet gets picked up in the flow, ends up going out to your fuel, your fuel rail and your injectors. So I had emailed Holley about this and sent a guy pictures, and he didn't seem to care. So now that I've got this out, I'm going to call their tech line, which probably is going to be a 45-minute wait based on my experience, and see if I can get somebody on the phone that will listen to me and just say, hey, you know, your fuel filters, you know, you got some debris. I don't know. I feel like I need to do that. So in any case, that's trash. I'm gonna unwrap the new one and we'll get that one in. So getting the other side off was a little tougher because I didn't have anything to grab onto here. So what I did was I put, again, this in my vise and just kind of grabbed it, you know, right here in this square edge. You could probably do the same here. This is the mounting brackets that I think are optional. You can buy them, but just put a vise here on both sides and then loosen that nut. So when you take it out, this is on the outlet side. You've got that big O-ring there and you've got that small one. So I think what happens is the filter seals against that O-ring there, because the fuel comes in from around the filter, goes through it, and then it goes out, and they want to, you know, want the fuel to kind of circle back. So that's what that O-ring's for. So we'll replace the O-rings. So I've cleaned it up a little bit, remove the O-rings with a pick. Something like this should work fine. Small screwdriver. Looks like both sides can take that small O-ring in that groove there. So that side and that side are identical. You want the side with the small O-ring to be on the outlet side. The inside is pretty straightforward. I just get some brake clean, cleaned out the threads and wiped it down a little bit. It was pretty clean to begin with. But a little brake clean should help there. So the O-rings are on. The small one, you want to press it in. You'll see it kind of should stay in there pretty good. It shouldn't fall out. It's like a press fit. It should stay in there pretty good. And that will, like I said, screw into the outlet side. So we'll tighten these back down and there's the O-ring. I'm going to tighten that down a little bit more on the bench. I've got my new filter. Actually, I'm going to just look at this a little closer to see if there's any metal on that. Doesn't seem to be anything jumping out. So got one side in, just hand tightened. Final side, so the filter's in. You'll see it should kind of sit down in that little seat where that O-ring is. You'll feel it. It'll kind of move a little bit. These little tabs keep it from moving around too much. That's about, should sit right below the threads. Don't forget that spring that we took out. So that can sit right there. I put a little silicone spray on the O-ring so it kind of slides as you're tightening it. So that's all together. I'll just do a final hand tightening with the big wrench, not give it too much metal. Metal to metal should make contact, and then you know the O-ring is doing its job. So that concludes this video on replacing a filter. I'll include, like I said, part numbers for the filter and the replacement filter and other things in it in the description. Thanks.